Topic number one tonight is Polight jail time. Polight jail time. This comes with several links, actually, for those who might not know the story. So let me share this screen first. So Polight, who's also known as a motivational speaker, right? It says motivational speaker arrested for February assault of teen in Miami Beach. Let's see what the video talks about.
Speaker is making headlines for the wrong reason. He normally garners attention for his online posts, but now the social media influencer, motivational speaker, is making headlines for the wrong reason. NBC6 reporter Kim Nguyen is live in Miami Beach tonight with more on the arrest of the man known as Brother Bakari. Kim.
Yeah, well, Jawan, the suspect surrendered here at the Miami Beach Police Department earlier this week. Police charged him with sexual battery of a 14-year-old girl. We did speak with his lawyer earlier tonight, who says that these charges are false. This is the mugshot of 37-year-old Michael Nowak Jr., also known as Brother Polight, to his more than 300,000 Instagram followers. Miami Beach police arrested Nowak this week for alleged sexual battery of a 14-year-old girl in a hotel room in February. Police say the alleged victim was the daughter of a woman he was romantically linked to. Defense attorney David Terrace says his client is innocent.
Once the evidence is produced, that he is going to be exonerated. So yeah, not guilty, nothing else.
According to the police report, Nowak, a motivational speaker and author who lives in L.A., asked the woman if he could take her daughter to an after party at a club in Miami. The report states Nowak took the teen to his hotel after seeing that the club was closed. Police say the suspect gave the teen alcohol and started dancing and touching the teen inappropriately, groping her breast, inner thighs, and buttocks. It goes on to say Nowak tried to force the teen to perform oral sex on him. The teen allegedly passed out and woke up to Nowak trying to make her throw up.
These are serious allegations, but in any situation, there is always motive. There is always a lot behind the scenes that the public is not going to be able to see.
The report states that the girl's mother found her intoxicated and possibly on drugs, with severe swelling on her mouth and lips. It later states Nowak told the mother not to call police because it would ruin his career. Nowak was served with a DNA warrant in June and surrendered to police on Monday. Terrace says the police report is only an allegation. And Nowak claims to have written more than 90 books. In an interview, he also claims to have several wives. For now, we're reporting live in Miami Beach. Kim Nguyen, NBC6 News.
So there's another video to this. What I'll do is I'll just share it now.
We want to.
Sorry. I'll share this link from TikTok. What we'll do, we'll watch it, get another insight into what's going on, and then I'll have one more link, and then we'll discuss it.
Known as Brother Polight was sentenced to 7 years in state prison and 10 years probation following release. He was also ordered to pay a $25,000 restitution to the 14-year-old minor that he essayed. Polight was initially arrested August 2021. Polight told his girlfriend at the time that he wanted to take her daughter out to have a talk with her. He had gained her trust and he wanted to take her out for some food and to talk to her about respect. Instead, he took the 14-year-old to a hotel room where he then had her consume intoxicants and attempted to SA her. The girl remembers passing out or falling asleep, and when she woke up, she had sores and her mouth was swollen. The mother was unable to reach Polight or her daughter during this time. Again, this happened back in 2021, and apparently he was sentenced yesterday, September 6th. Per the Miami-Dade.gov website, he is currently in custody. And while I have not seen his sentencing on mainstream media, there is audio circulating from yesterday's hearing.
Can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Michael Eugene Note Jr., August 10th, 1983.
state has now filed an amended information today, charging you with the following: aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. Count 2 is aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison, and contributing to the delinquency, dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. It is my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to this new information. You would be adjudicated guilty, and your sentence has been memorialized in a 4-page plea agreement. Did you have the opportunity to go over this plea agreement with your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. I do need the definitive initial each page because
Now, someone is handling Polight's social media, and they are putting out what I assume are pre-recorded videos saying that Polight is innocent, that all charges were dropped. I have not seen anything that would indicate charges were dropped against Polight. The victim's mother also gave a heartbreaking statement. I'll go ahead and play a bit of her statement so that you can hear how he went out of his way to gain her trust just so he could gain access to her daughter.
You made me believe that you were such a great man and you could do no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that, my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster, a demon. The very first time that I allowed you to be alone with my daughter, the very first time you couldn't even help yourself, you told me you was going to be right back. We were going downstairs. We're going to grab food and take vacation pictures. You told me that you wanted to have a one-on-one talk with her about loving and respecting me as a great mother that I was and am. And I actually believed you. I believed that you were going to bring her right back.
Again, for legal purposes, I would like to make it clear that I have not seen his sentencing on the mainstream media sources. All of this is alleged based on the information that has been provided.
So lastly, I want to play a clip from Polight himself. As he, I guess, the day before, the day before he goes to jail, he started releasing some of these videos here. And so what I'll do is I'll try to start this from the beginning and let you hear what Polight has to say for himself.
Mother and the daughter and the prosecution dropped every single sexual charge. I'm saying it again. The mother, the daughter, my accusers, in addition to the state, the prosecution, all agreed they need to drop all of the sexual charges. So yeah, it's a victory, but it's bittersweet. It's a victory because I was facing life. No parole, no probation. Now you may say, how could this be possible if a minor was so-called molested and there was DNA evidence? And people say DNA don't lie. And I always said, people do. Well, let's do this. The serologist, the expert that so-called found 6 semen stains amongst a headscarf and a t-shirt. Never mind the fact the whole rape kit said negative. They checked this girl for 5 different types of DNA, finger DNA, all types of different DNA. Checked her vagina, checked her mouth, checked her saliva, checked her excrement, checked her feces, checked her urine. Everything came up negative. You would think because of all the violent acts I was accused of, how I came inside of her, how I came on her face, how I bust her mouth open from penetrating her so physically, that there would be some kind of trace of something, some kind of DNA, but the rape kit came up all negative. So now we're in a conundrum. So how the hell how does the DNA just skip to a t-shirt and a headscarf? Well, the serologist that did the report that labeled it semen stains, when you got high-powered attorneys such as myself, high-powered attorneys such as myself, then what happens is when you spend damn near 200 grand on your defense, you have the right to do depositions. We have our own private investigator. We have our own, guess what, forensics expert. So our forensics expert said this. Our forensics expert said, we want to take a look and see what's going on over there. So when our forensics expert took a look and examined these so-called clothes with semen stains, we had some questions about how did you definitively conclude that that was semen in the first damn place? So guess what happens after that? A deposition is when we interview anybody that's part of the situation, whether it be the mother, the daughter, the people who took the 911 call, whoever. The prosecutor gets to sit in while we interview them, while there's a court-appointed stenographer that types up everything, and the prosecutor can hear everything as it goes so they can make a determining factor if they got a case or not. Point in case, we couldn't interview the serologist, Stephanie Thompson, because she mysteriously disappears when we want to question her about how she came up with those results. I'll say it again. The person who said that there was semen stains on the headscarf and the shirt, despite the fact the rape kit tested for 5 different DNAs, considering the egregious acts that I was accused of, the rape kit came up all negative, which science would suggest I did absolutely none of the things that I was accused of. Science would suggest I did absolutely none of the things that I was accused of. Okay? All right? That's what science would suggest. Science would suggest that. But here's this woman talking about this DNA evidence, and then now when we call her so we can interview her, get a deposition, and have it on record with my attorneys questioning them based on the findings of our forensic expert, she's nowhere to be found. So you know what we could do now? We could file a motion to dismiss the DNA for the case. That's what we could do. Because if we go to trial, we won't be able to cross-examine her because suddenly she disappears. She works for some private company and no one could find her. Now, all the while, the state been giving me opportunities to plead 20 years sexual offender, plead 15 years sexual offender. And I'm like, I wouldn't care if you gave me 1 day in prison. So long as you got that label registered sex offender on there, I'm going to trial. So long as you got that label there, registered sex offender, I'm going to trial because I can never make a plea to something like that. So guess what happens? The state says if we ever want to do interviews, depositions, if we ever want to get a deposition from the mother and a deposition from the daughter, all bets are off. They'll never do an agreement with me. They said they'll never do an agreement. Never do an agreement. Work out an agreement or a plea. I said, I don't give a... My attorneys will tell you straight up, because when you see my attorney video, he's going to tell you straight up. From day one, I said, I'm never doing an agreement to any sexual charges. Interview the mother and the daughter. So they are the last of our depositions. We got the police body cams. We realized that the police report contradicts the affidavit that they did. The affidavit contradicts the interviews that they did on the body cam. So we got 3 contradictions. The story that the mother and daughter tells on the body cam, the stories that they told in the police report, and the stories that they tell on the affidavits. None of them work out. And I'm going to speak about that. But ultimately, we want to interview them. So when we interview them and do our depositions, have the prosecutor sit there, we already know where they're lying. We already know their lies. We looked at each of the 3 different types of lies they said for that night. So guess what's going to happen when we get to interview them? We're just going to ask them questions so they can contradict themselves. So when we go to court, we can ask them which story is true and why did you lie? So the prosecutor hits us again. Well, you know he's going to be facing life. We're in the week now where we got to interview the mother and daughter to get the deposition. So guess what happens 2 days before the mother and daughter are supposed to fly into town for us to get the depositions? They call. After a week ago threatening me, 2 days before the mother and daughter are supposed to fly out, they say, hey, we drop all the sexual charges. Huh? They say we're dropping all the sexual charges. And let me add something to this. Y'all heard this crazy story that I called a grown woman and asked if I could take her 14-year-old girl to a party. And y'all believe that bullshit. But guess what my text messages say? My text messages say, she asked me. Oh, hold on, let's reverse. Do you know that we broke up that same day? And later that time, within a day, within 24 hours, she filed a criminal complaint. Let's add some more color to it. Do you know that the same day that I broke up with her, in my text messages, is proven she said she was going to destroy my life. She was going to fuck my whole shit up. So we have motive. Do you know that I wasn't the one that asked to take her daughter to a party after 2 a.m. in the morning? Do you know my text messages say she contacted me and asked me to take her daughter out to a party after 2 a.m. in the morning, and I vehemently declined because I said, what the hell do I look like as a grown man taking a 14-year-old that obviously looks like a minor to a party? Y'all don't know that, though. All of this is in my text messages. Y'all don't know that, though. So you say, well, then, Polight, then you should be clean. I should be, but unfortunately, the mother turned her daughter in. The daughter got high and intoxicated, and because I'm not the one that turned them in, now we dealing with child abuse and delinquency of a minor. If they could, so I'm like, let's fight it. Let's fight it. So my attorney's like, I just want you to understand that this child abuse in Florida, aggravated child abuse from the child being intoxicated, they can give you 30 years in prison. I'm like, man, take the goddamn agreement. If, under what circumstances, if they can convince a jury that whether you gave her alcohol or you was aware that she was high at any point in time and you didn't turn her in, but since the mother did, you could be subject to 30 years. So I said, let's make a goddamn agreement, man, and let's work this thing out. So still got to sit down somehow, some way, but it is what it is. Blessings in abundance is bittersweet. Oh my goodness. And more information is going to come out, and this shit is far from over for all the lies that was told on me. Peace. Blessings in abundance.
All right.
The mother and the daughter.
There goes some of y'all's brother, Polight, the Jay-Z of the conscious community, right? Who do I begin with here? Who's chomping at the bit to speak on this? Is there anyone who wants to volunteer to go first? All right.
I guess I'll go.
All right, Black.
I'll knock it out. So, like Buana said, don't convince me, convince the judge. I do believe he took a plea deal because he was looking at 30 years. All of the word salad that he's spewing right now means absolutely nothing. If you ask me, I think Florida's too light on child predators. My heart goes out to this young girl and her mother. We got a lot of problems in the conscious community. You know, we got a lot of frauds and people who take advantage of those in our society. You know, it's truly disgusting that this happened. You know, I can't even wrap my head around this happening to this young girl. So yeah, Polight needs to go to jail, stay under the jail, and I don't believe anything of what he's saying. So I'll let the next person speak.
I appreciate that, Black Seal. By the way, shout out to the matron who's out there in the chat. Shout out to KW7 who's here tonight as well. He said Polight's goose is cooked. And Sonetta is doing the two-step shuffle to try and separate himself, but it's too late. Let's go to Buana next, because like Black Steel said, Buana said he thinks this is Kemet on trial. You don't have to convince me, convince the judge. Buana, what all else do you have to say?
Oh, goodness, man. I could go on for days. But you know what, though? What I'll do is I'll stick to this brother, this guy, because this is a case of you could have all the talent in the world and no character. You know, talent is like a step ladder. You could have talent and you take certain steps, you'll get to the top of the mountain. You know, but if you have no character is like a slide to failure. You know, and you could I mean, it's as difficult it is to get to the top of the mountain. You know, if you have no character, it's just easy. You could just slip and reach the bottom of the mountain in 30 seconds. Or even with this particular incident, it took him like, what, 10 minutes? And his career was completely over. He had no character, you know, and there's a lot of people who are pointing fingers now. A lot of pointing fingers within the unconscious community, you know, you know. Sanetta pointing fingers at this person and everybody making allegations and how come you didn't. This person was a snake. Okay, he was a con man. And sometimes con men get in because they are very convincing. And what I tell the brothers sometimes is don't watch what people say. Watch what they do. When you watch what people do, it's a good indication of how they truly believe about certain things. You know, this man had one particular time in his life, he had three wives. Where are they? He was a family man. And the next instance, he's the person who was he's an Instagram superstar, taking pictures here and there, you know, with rented houses and rented limousines, you know, traveling all over the. He even came to the Bahamas. Someone invited him here to make a speech. You know, this particular guy got off purpose a long time ago. A long time ago. You know, and what's unfortunate is that he's following in the same line of his teacher. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible how he just followed his teacher.
Absolutely incredible. I thought the same thing. But you
Yeah.
tell us, go ahead, brother.
Oh goodness, man. But like I say, I could really go on and on all day about this in terms of we as a community, there needs to be some vetting. Some vetting. No matter what your back, where you come from. I want to know the last time you take a drug test before you speak to me. Do you have any criminal allegations, or what's your criminal record look like? You know, I want to know some things about you before I permit you to speak to me and give you my time or even enter my mind. There are certain questions that we as a community need to ask so-called people who come up in our faces and present themselves as people of authority. You know, this gentleman, he was a huckster. He was a con artist, and he conned the community for a long. There was allegations of this brother talking about scamming people, and I don't know if these things were true, but these things needed to be investigated. But because he was able to get on platforms and make people money, it was hush hush, hush hush. You know, but I'm not gonna blame the community. I just think that the community was hoodwinked and beguiled. They was lied to, and this is the job of a con man. He is able to convince people that he is who he says he is. And in this video right here, he is almost like a rat trapped in a corner. He continuously circles the room. He doesn't. You could tell the circles, the wheels turning in his head. He is still trying to be a media personality. You know, knowing that he is going to prison tomorrow. Why don't you address the things that you actually did? But you know what though? What is good is the jail will keep you honest. Because even though you don't want to be honest with yourself, when you go behind them bars, a degree of realism will come into your mind. When their brothers start testing you, if you're under protective custody in jail, the reality of what you did will come into your mind. So you could talk all you want to and try to convince your audience of this and that. The reality is everybody heard you say in your testimony in court, because it was played everywhere, you said, I accept the charges against me, and you are going to jail. And he is in jail currently. So he can't talk his way out of that. You know, but we as a community, we need to start doing more vetting in terms of who we present in front of our eyes as any kind of authority figures. But this is an old story though. This is a story from Malachi Zior to R. Kelly, to all these people who we look up to and believe that they have a degree of certain magic. And when it all these guys, and when it all falls down, you find out that they have low character and low integrity. Don't watch what the man says. watch what he actively does. I'll leave it there.
In the chat, Razuli was out there. Shout out to Razuli. He says, mother is not off the hook either. Only's having some internet issues, so he might not be able to come up. So I'll ask Oni to drop his comments in the chat, and I'll for sure read them on the air. Someone's mic is open. I'm getting a lot of rumbling. Oni says, mom is wild, but how he tell her she a good mother and she's sending 14-year-old to Polight? How good you gotta be flirting with Polight? And then Oni says Polight is a big time scam, and he mentions that y'all discussed him on Brother Bakari's show. So I think I do remember that Bakari is here. First of all, Bakari, how are you this week?
I'm great, my man. How y'all doing? Peace.
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming through.
Oh man, thanks for letting me up here to speak. I'm a little late, I came through because I was watching the game before, but then I came through and I saw this and I had to come up here. This is like a microcosm of the Black community, of our mindset. Can y'all still hear me? Because it sounded like it went out.
No, you good.
No, I can't. Go ahead.
This is like a microcosm of our mindset. We love the scammers. People are going to protect the scammers, and you can find people still trying to protect Sarnetta through all of this, because it's not just Polight. It's everything that I call the con man community. When those people knew, even if they didn't know he was messing with little girls, even though Sarnetta admitted that he did and came back months later and tried to take it back, even if they didn't know that he was messing with little girls, they knew he was stealing money from poor Black people, giving them promises to heaven on earth. And then stop talking to people. His scamming was next level. But the reason I say it's a microcosm, because we like that. Let's talk about doing a community business. Black people going to get away from you. But I can give you a fake museum. I can give you fakes. And I'm mentioning these people because they ran together. The guy that gave the fake museum, just go look at one of his things. Polight was in one of his, I think the last one of the colors, finding hidden colors, whatever it was called. The last one of Polight was in that. These type of people run together. And these type of people constantly steal from the Black community, from poor Black people. And we're going to always search to do victim blaming. Like your friend just put in the chat, the mama ain't off the hook either. Like, what does she have to do? Because we're always looking to victim blame. What does she have to do with this? When I was married, before my wife passed away, she brought a daughter to the marriage. So I was a stepfather. I could take her daughter anywhere with me, and nothing like this was going to happen. So for some clown to say the mother ain't off the hook, why would you marry a man you don't think you can trust your daughter around? You understand what I'm saying? But we look to blame the victim because so many men, we act like we're jealous of our women. Now I'm gonna get back to Sarnetta. If y'all go back, and I can find a video, if I can find it, I put it in things so you can play it. He was calling. This was about 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, when they had first fallen out. When him and Polight had fell out. You ain't nothing but a little Dr. York, because I don't say doctor. He Malachi Dwight, whatever his name is. You ain't nothing but a young Malachi York, little Malachi York ass Negro. You know that little girl you telling people your daughter? I told you don't try me. I know that ain't your daughter. That's my wife. What he said? That was his wife's cousin. The little 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl that Polight had run off with before. And the family couldn't find her. And Polight done taught her to tell people that he's her daddy. So they knew this was going on. And Black people is still over there on his channel, still supporting him. He's still getting money from Black people. Then it get to the point, but we're gonna blame the white man. I believe in looking in the mirror. We can turn them off. I know black people don't think we can. Me and Bawana and The4Kast had that conversation last night. We don't think we can turn them off because white folks put them in algorithm. But we have the right to stop dealing with those people. But we don't want it. So now we the children of the world. We know all this going on and everybody doing all that talking. Once again, they needed the white man to come and do their work for them. And now you still got people. It's a guy I used to listen to named YK The Truth. I can't no more. Man, I just can't no more. He had some good information. I used to watch. He was funny when he would battle the Aboriginals debating and he would be winning. But now Polight, this guy did like 5, 6 videos in a row trying to prove how Polight is innocent, how Polight didn't take a plea for nothing sexually. Like he's about to have a nervous breakdown because Polight is going to jail for this. Polight is scammed and scammed and scammed. But I don't understand how we don't know the scam. Somebody can tell you something good that you want to hear, and we hear and don't listen. I used to laugh. YG Polight was funny the way he used to make the Israelites mad. But I listened to Polight for 5 minutes, and me and my homeboy like, this dude is just slick talking, and people don't understand. When you hear people like him, listen to everything. He's speaking cadence. So he started with the scam, and this everything that he's been doing, and all of this go together, and it caught up with him. He took black people money and ran to Beverly Hills. That's what he did. Ran to go be around folks he was telling you it's the devil, because that's what black people want to hear. That's all you have to say. And they'll get on your bandwagon. See, they'll probably never get on my bandwagon because I ain't going to tell them that. I ain't got to tell them that because I'm going to point fingers like, man, what are we going to do?
Brother Bakari, do
Yeah.
you remember when Sanetta, sorry for interrupting, by the way.
No,
do you remember when Sanetta came on and started making allegations about how this young girl ran away from home or whatever? Do you remember that? You remember when he Okay, so let me ask you a question. Didn't Sanetta continue to do business with this man after he made them comments?
Yes.
So that wouldn't that make him complicit in anyways?
Yes. Yes. It make all of them over there. See, who knew about the scamming, who knew about everything, they're all complicit. And they didn't care about black people. They're all complicit. Sanetta, Young Pharaoh scam too. Young Pharaoh took Polight scams, turned on him, and went and got him a whole new crew with the scamming. And then he went all the way far left. But all of this, all of them is complicit. The whole so-called conscious con man community is complicit with what's going on. They all are, because they saw it happening. And Sanetta even more, because it went past the scamming till he knew that this dude got his wife's cousin at 13 years old to run away, not answer the phone. But people still watching. He got information. I know when we were talking last night, Bawana, I know The4Kast say we don't have power to stop listening to people. I don't get that when white people. I hope he listening. That's why I said that. White people got to tell us who we need to stop listening to. But we have the power to shut people like that off. Or our community won't ever change. We would just remain the same. We would just remain the same. Won't go nowhere.
Bakari.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, I agree with 1,000%. The one thing I would add, well, first I'll add this comment. This is why I think it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. This is why I say I personally don't mind criticizing the community, because what you just said I could clip that and put that as a standalone video somewhere, and I would hope that everyone who proclaims being a part of the conscious community will listen to that. That's what we got to start educating our people on. But I want to add this other comment too. I think the issue is, in all honesty, I think black people know a grifter. But what black people are willing to do is go against their core understandings if you can make them feel good. And that's all Polight and all these grifters do. They make you feel good, you know, and people will even though they know this guy is a grifter, even because we know, for example, we knew Bill Clinton wasn't shit, but we sacrificed that understanding because he went on Arsenio and played the saxophone. Oh, he's the first black president. We feel good for some reason about some dumb shit like that. And that's why I want, especially when it comes to the grifters and stuff like that. And shout out to all these different people who are now pointing out grifters like pocket watching and all that kind of stuff. This is what I want. I want people to learn this shit and put aside that feel-good bullshit that you're following in these people and really, like Buana said earlier, vet these people, man. Vet these people, man, before you enrich these people. I'm going to let Bakari come back and respond some more later, but let me get to some of the other folks who joined. So, Bakari, just hang tight for a second. Ben Uko's here tonight. Ben Uko, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yes, I heard about this whole Polight thing. Can I take a comment about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say hello to the whole. Who's here tonight? Bakari, you're in the house. How you doing, Bakari?
I'm great, my man. How are you?
I'm doing great. After I talked to you over this week, it was great to hear from you. I haven't talked to you guys all in a while here. But yeah, let's get down to this business here.
Yeah, Polight jail time. What say you?
1 second, please. All right, so let's get down to this. Let's get this. Where's Tariq at? Where is he at? Because he's one of the biggest assholes in this whole thing with that Hidden Colors 5. Where's that dirty rat at? He's so running right now because it's going to go back to him and everybody else because Boyce is going to look bad. Because I when I hear some of these people speak, I say, wait a minute. Some of you can't talk. Some of you can't talk. I was hearing Phil the Advice show. You can't talk. Oh, Young Farrell, we know he's silent. He can't talk. But some of these people out here that are on social media, you guys can't even talk because some of you guys do the same grifts as he does. Anybody want to comment?
Ben,
No, finish it.
Ben, I would only say this, Ben. You see, sometimes we go off and don't end up dealing with the matter at hand. Okay, we understand these brothers, them shaky or whatever. This dude did something and he was convicted for doing something. So I think that sometimes as a community, let's deal with the people one step at a time. Our focus is on this man and his actions. And I think that we should deal with him.
I know. And he's a pervert. He's a complete pervert. He's a demonic. He has no self-respect. It's like, why would you talk to a 14-year-old child? Like, no. Or take her to do something private with her. Something's so wrong with this man. This man is a complete jackass. There's no way he can get away with this. That's all I gotta say for right now.
All right. Let's welcome in our boy Azuli this week. Azuli, how are you? Azuli, if you're there, your mic is muted.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, There's nothing to say about Polight. Polight's been scamming. I remember I told a story. I went to Coco. You know Nicholas that used to be over there by Decal and Flat.
Yeah.
He was there telling the people that he has a mine in Africa, mining gold. So he's down there. A group of people were listening, and I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, damn, my people are really crazy. This dude wanted to do, and I know he didn't have a mine in Africa, but he was telling people that. So he's down there doing to African people what the exploiters, the colonizers, were doing to his own people. So and he was saying that, and the people were clapping. And his wife was there, the first one. So as a woman, so when I said the mother's not off the hook, it's this, right? His wife know he's a scammer. And she's there sitting with this scammer, scamming the people who are trying to get knowledge to find themselves in this world. And she's down with the exploitation. Sanetta, all these conscious community dudes, when I watch them, they all liars. And the thing that this did, he didn't just destroy his character. He destroyed any black man's image who's trying to be conscious, or who's trying to be Pan-Africanist, or who's trying to be, who's trying to find himself. Because now you try to approach a woman and you're on that type of, they might tell you, oh, you like them Polight people doing this in front, but scamming people and abusing other people. So this I think is more severe than we think, is that this guy didn't just shoot himself in the foot. He shot the whole, even people, like, even if you start talking about, let's say you start talking about Africa, now there's a word, now they start calling you Hotep. Now they're going to tie you to this is image, is assassination, what he did. Polight was been a grifter, and I said this about the mom. I'm not saying, how do you not vet somebody? You could go on YouTube and see Polight talking about these people are the devil, these people, and now he's hanging out with them. He's wearing their freaking clothes. He's driving their cars. How long were you dating this man? And like we said, Sanetta had said something. His second wife or his second girlfriend, the one that's up to age now, it started with an argument with her when she was young, arguing with her mom, the same as this one. So I'm saying this. Yo, mom, you got to vet people who come into you. I'm not blaming the mom to be, I'm saying that you got to vet these dudes, especially Polight. His whole lifestyle is on the internet as a liar. So you think a grifter is not going to try to scam you or do, come on. Polight is one of the worst. You see, he's talking about he got convicted. I saw him attacking Israelite brother who was talking about that there's no problem dating somebody who's like 17 or 16. He's on YouTube destroying that guy, but he's in there doing the same thing. So even on this video that you're showing right now, he's talking about, he's trying to change the narrative of whatever. But as a mother, you should be aware. This guy's character is on the internet. Any woman, even his own woman, his first wife, I look at her sideways. So you was down with the grift because when he was grifting, you was able to ride in a Rolls Royce. You was able to wear Louis Vuitton. She got a fake butt. She started wearing all this fake hair. She's not off the hook, the first wife. She's with this. So another word I'm just trying to say is Polight didn't just destroy himself. So that's why I'm thinking, like, this shit is strange to me. Was this dude sent to destroy the image of a black man who's trying to chase the truth? This guy did not just destroy himself. Sanetta, and when you do the background, all these people, so-called quote unquote conscious community, they were all drug dealers, crackhead, cokeheads, and all of a sudden they found God. And they found this. Victor Villard, even because the brother has said something about what's his name? Oh, the museum guy. He had this guy in his thing. Tariq. The whole point, and this is the thing, Tariq's wife. How could you be with Tariq knowing what kind of character he is? But he's getting money, right? So if he's getting money, I'm good. I could do this. I'm down with it.
Can I comment 1 second again?
Go ahead, bro.
Okay. It's the same thing that goes to these black entertainers too. Like, remember, look at someone like when we talk like, let me give you an example. A perfect, like, look at the guys that B2K. We can look at Chris Stokes. We can look at all these guys that were messing with children. Look at Aaliyah's parents. How they exploited Aaliyah to go to get to R. Kelly. And they knew about it and they did nothing. We can go on and on. We can look at Russell Simmons. Yeah, that's another character. We can look at Tiger. We can look at Drake. We can look at Nicki Minaj. Oh,
yeah, celebrities aren't to really be glorified.
I agree. I agree with that. I always agree with that. But just look at how this trickle effect goes down through our community. That's what I'm talking about. And then you also have to look at who I ask, who do you guys allow in your homes? Especially when you have children. That's the big question. Who do you allow in your houses? Because this is why there's so many problems. And that doesn't go back to just this. You can look at your people in your own your community leaders. Your community leaders have this mindset too. Covering up for pedophiles, when these like so-called violence interrupters, or people who cover police brutality issues. They got this similar mindset too. And I'll yield the mic.
Yeah, I think I could buy a bit of what Uzuli was selling there with the mom thing. It's not to blame the victim. I do think, as with all things, there has to be vetting. And there was enough information out on Polight already, because Polight came out like in the early days of the internet. If you think about it, when he used to be clowning those Israelites and stuff like that, I remember that. That's early internet days. So this is how long this guy has been around. And you know, if you're going to date this man, and again, I'm not putting all the blame on this woman. I still have 99% of the blame on Polight. But yeah, if you're going to be dating this guy and having around your child, you needed to look into him a little bit. I could see an unknown guy fooling you. But this guy, as Uzuli said, this guy, all his shit has been on the internet now for 20 plus years. You know, you could figure out who he is. Does anyone else want to add any last thoughts here? I know Bakari might want to add something.
Yeah. Now, I agree with it being the first wife, but see, in the first wife is Malachi York's daughter too. So she used to the scam. So yeah, she was a part of it. So,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. The first wife is Malachi York's daughter. So, but like the way they said it, it's the wives that bring the other woman in, you know, it's the wife. It's the wife that brings the other women in. Now, we know Polight is on the internet, right? And maybe that woman could have, but you know how many people don't watch? I'm just being, and this is not me, but I'm just saying, if you're going to marry somebody, I don't know how long they have been knowing each other. You should think that you could trust your 14-year-old child around that person. But I think it's more of the way they say it go. It's the other women that bring them in and talking about the greatness and all of this. So, so I do understand. So I don't put no blame. I don't put no blame on that mother. That's me. I put no blame on that mother. If I marry somebody and don't trust them with my child, that means I shouldn't be around that person. She came out. She told her story in court. She said what she said. But the thing, see, Polight had things. He was conning when Azuli said something about having land in Africa with gold mines or whatever in Africa. If you ever hear him tell those stories, watch how fast he go to talking when he get to certain points. But he gonna slow down when he let you know he needs some money. Azuli, did you ever hear him tell a story about the land in Arizona that he had? No. Oh, he had all this, and this is how he was saying, I got this, and we got 450 acres in this for black people, and it was Arizona, and we're gonna need this much money, and it's an investment. Then somebody say, so, but where it is? Well, you know what I'm saying? It's on like 22223. The guy like, what? He like, oh, don't worry about what I said. I can show it for you right here. This is the address.
But Bakari, remember the thing he did in Ohio when he went to the people's...
He broke in the construction site and told the people, I need investment money because these are my apartments, and we're going to do this all around the whole country in the black community. And it was really a black man that was built that owned their apartment. And that dude was like, I never heard of no Brother Polight, but if I find out who he is, I'm putting the police on him. He broke in my construction site. He trying to take investment money because it was a black man and a black lady, for me and my business partners apartment complex.
And that was crazy. And the black community saw this, and like you said, Bakari, they exposed them, and the black community still mess with this dude.
Yep. You remember Azuli? He was jumping on the machines. I'm gonna tell y'all, man, the conning was so. Remember Azuli? He had on construction boots, work clothes when he went back there.
Yeah, Bakari, it was good. He almost got away with it. I gotta give him credit for that. He almost got away with that shit.
You know he got some money because the dude didn't come out till like the next week when he found out. Mm-hmm. He found out like the next week who had been over there because they broke in, but they didn't steal nothing. So it took him like a week to find out why would somebody break in and don't steal nothing. Polight is standing up there talking in his construction outfit. He got somebody driving a skid steer, and he got somebody on a backhoe, and you could tell none of them knew how to operate any of that machine.
Not one.
But, you saw it too, Azul? Me say, Koku.
Yeah, I saw it. They almost tipped that shit over because they didn't know how to operate it.
Yeah.
Like not one of them guys knew how to operate the lift, the backhoe, nothing. Almost tipped the lift over.
Yeah. You know? And my thing is, we got people now, right? I'm gonna say his name because I ain't have no beef with him until this. Still ain't got no beef, but I'm looking at him sideways. Q Butter. Yeah, he got a school. But can I trust you with my children going to your school while you trying to protect Sarnetta, and Sarnetta knew Polight was doing this? Like, when does it end? When does it end? Like, I put the other women in the mix because the way they told the story is the other women that bring the new women on and introduce and get everything set up. So yes, that first wife and that second wife, I absolutely blame.
Bakari, I'm not blaming the mother. Like, I'm just saying you got to be careful.
Yes, you do have to be careful. I agree with that. But that's why when you said the women and you broke down what you meant, that's why I came back and said, I agree. Because they are responsible. But like I said, they are the first wife, who's the ringleader of the wives. She is Malachi York's daughter.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So it runs in them. Polight said Malachi York was God to him. But yet and still we know what he did. This man called Malachi York God, but you still have channels that'll prop him up because they're going to make money off him. Yeah. You see, and that's what I mean. I'm going to say this again, I'm going to be quiet. And when I say this is a microcosm of the black mindset, right? The microcosm of who we are. When are we gonna stop selling each other out for money? And like I said the other night, and Bawana was in the panel. He came on the panel last night, but I said, but like my other night on my show, but like, damn, I turned down so much. And this ain't to pat me on the back. Just listen where I'm going. I turned down a 6-bedroom brick house on about an acre of land, no rent, no mortgage, for 3 years. I turned down it was a minimum. I just say 3, but a minimum $250,000 contracts, because these white folks are trying to get me to be quiet. I stepped up in a city council meeting. I said words that they didn't like, and they were trying to control me. And I'm like, nope. I got people listening out here. They trying to make me be quiet. They gonna go through my background, and all they got to do is say something. People gonna believe it. I tell black people, if there's anything you want to know about me, I will tell you. I will tell you stuff that I've done wrong in my life, the mistakes that I've made. You know, I'm not perfect, but I ain't never done nothing like what he did. But what I'm saying is, you stand on something moral and strong for black people. That's what black people don't like. Those same black people that's propping up and protecting Polight and Sarnetta will talk negative about everybody from the civil rights generation, because I've heard them do it. But now you would turn around and you would protect this. So trying to be moral and have some type of standing to be a real strong black man, it's almost get to a point like, man, is it really worth it? And I would tell people, don't do what I did. Don't turn nothing down. Get every damn thing, because I'm going to tell you, you can have these morals and you can look out for black folks. And black folks, you're going to be the one black folks turn on. And it's going to be people like Polight, Sarnetta, Tariq Nasheed, and people like that whose black people is going to protect. Not all, but majority. And I'm just saying, so if you can get it, get it. I'm just being honest with you on that. I yield.
All right, man. Afro Native World is here. He says, are we giving this too much attention? Is he worth more than 1 hour of discussion? Mike, you have to mute it.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean? It is worth an hour. Because like I said, this man is not destroying himself. He's me, Kogu, Bakari, Bawana. If we go out the street and start talking the way we talk, people are going to be, you like that dude. This is murdering the image that he was not even the image he proclaimed. So I don't understand. And is it worth it now? It's not about him. It's about that community that brings in grifters in order to destroy the movement before it starts, in the eye of women and kids and righteous brothers who would think, let me try to do this and that in the third. Sarnetta was promising a news van, collected mad money, no news van.
Yo, wow. Urzuli, wow. You know what? I remember that. And you know what he driving? He driving a Mercedes or BMW. He didn't get that van, but he get a Mercedes.
Can I ask a question? Hey, can I say something to add on to that? He got mad. He took up $9,000 in donations for a news van. I'm going to show you something, Bawana. He had already got that Mercedes that he was driving from a different scam, from a different scheme. But I'm going to show you something, because I know that because when him and Polight went at it, Polight called him out about it. That's the only way I know he got the Mercedes from a different scam, because they tell on each other when they get to arguing. But you know why he didn't get a news van? He refused to get one because he said that people didn't give him enough money. This was like 2020, this was like 2020, 2021, right? They did not give him enough money to buy.
You're right. You're right. He had the audacity. I saw that video. That's why I was like, wow.
Yep. And he refused to get a news van because the people did not give him enough money to get a brand new Mercedes news van.
And let me tell you something. This is how I know Polight was a scammer, right? Little things to show you. That's why you need discernment. I was watching one of his videos. You know, Polight used to go crazy at the Israelite. He said one day he went to Applebee's and he saw one of them brothers working at Applebee's. Did you know Polight clowned this man? Talk about he ain't got no money. He's just working for minimum wage. So the brother's an Israelite trying to stay in the right path, even though I'm making minimum money, but you scamming.
Polight did that? Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I did not.
It's not shocking. It's not shocking. It's not shocking.
I'm talking about how foul it is. A brother out here working, trying to probably trying to get his life on the right track, even though I don't agree with his doctrine and I don't agree with the stuff that he say, but I'm not going to clown him for having a job, going to work.
I wouldn't too.
But meanwhile, this man is scamming people. The dude that's trying to do the right thing or whatever, he's working for a paycheck. We all know a lot of us don't want to work in those things. Yo, he clowned the man. And I was watching it. I said, wow. These are the leaders.
Let me just say, who was that, Buana?
No, that was me. I'll wait till you finish because I want to respond to something Afro Native World said.
No, let me get a shot. Let me get a conversation. Let me respond to that.
Okay. I was just going to say something and I forgot what it was. To what Afro Native World is saying in the chat about not really knowing who he is, that's a funny thing too. His popularity in consciousness, I would say, dipped a little bit in the last few years. But in the beginning, like I said, he came out kind of with the internet. And when he was dissing those Hebrew Israelites and Muslims and all that kind of stuff. But it's important, I think, to discuss these grifters. I think the problem is we kind of took that approach that a Shaq will take. Remember when Shaq, being a sheriff, he said he will never have something negative to say about the policeman next to him? I think a lot of us kind of just let these guys run amok. And I think more of us need to really get in on them. I know Bakari wanted to say something, Ben wanted to say something, and whoever else wants to add, just keep it brief for me because I do want to go on to the next topic. Bakari.
Okay, look, Afro Native World, you said, did he speak about African synonyms and all that? Yes, he did. And he was trying to scam those people out of money. That's why he kind of switched up and started going against, he was never Black Power, but he started going against people talking about Black Power. But it's not just him. It's a microcosm of that community. It's of the so-called the con man community. And it's a microcosm of Black people and the things that we follow and who we follow and how we allow any of this work. Now, I know I said I don't get, and I don't want to just call out all the negative about Black people, and I don't. But in cases like this, it really needs to be called. It needs to be called out. It really needs to be called out because it run rampant. And you can meet a brother Polight on any corner you go on, trying to hustle you and scam you and whatever it is they can get away with in the name of Black people. And I agree with Azuli. He has made, when we go out and pound the pavement, he has made people like us, when people are gonna say, you are a Brother Polight type person, you are a Tariq Nasheed type person, you are those people, you just want money and you're not gonna do anything with it.
That's so demoralizing. But Ben, but keep it brief for me, Ben.
Yeah, like Bakari was saying, that does happen because our brand was messed up back in May when this is the similar thing that he did. It's like I was offered a service to, okay, promote my stuff. He totally goes in my account and said, oh, I'm doing your bank repair. He's basically was just lying all along. When I found out that he was lying back in May, screw up my brand, screwed up my job, screwed everything up that I was doing. Now I got to start all over again with a new job and everything. And that's happened to me. But in political scams, I can catch you out. Maybe not financial scam, but political scams, I can catch you any day of the week. Like Polight's doing this political scammer, I can catch him because he's really not. He doesn't provide you no service. I know when you're really doing something like this, you say, "Oh, you want to help Black people? What services do you provide? Do you have any medical expertise? Do you have any tech expertise? Do you have anything that's relatable? What subject? What have you been educated or self-educated on? And he doesn't have that. Then you know he's not for you. And that's so let me take it back to the community leaders. When you have them in your community, all these ones that are going meeting with the city politicians and even some of the national politicians, you have to ask yourself, what violence have you stopped? What example have you made? Have you made an example of building a family, building any type of life skills? What have you learned? And you don't see that with these community leaders, and it's just a way to just sucker people dry. And because I always, when I go biking around the city, I see them always around, just walking around doing all that. Look, what are you really stopping? You have all this going on, and you haven't stopped no crime. You haven't stopped no police terrorism. You're not acting. No, you're always just going around with the city and doing whatever it does. So basically, you're doing doing snitching, doing data mining for the city so they can put in a police state. That's all simple it is. And that's what these grifters do. Grifters and these common do. They just data mine people so they can give information for the government. That's
Any
all.
other words here?
Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's like keeping people's information data mined. That's how it works. Polight's this dude is a sucker. He's a pervert, grifter. It's like this is so unbelievable. I can't believe this man was allowed to speak for black people. He was just allowed to speak. And when we were one time we were out. Who's that other grifter that's also quiet? I forgot. Riza Islam, another one. Why is he quiet? Boyce Watkins and then some of the ones that also support Boyce Watkins, you're speaking, but we're gonna look at your grifts. You know why they're speaking? Because your grifts will come out too.
All right, Ben. Let's
do another topic.
Hey, Coco, I'm gonna step down. I'm gonna try to come back in a minute, but I'm gonna be listening when I step out. And
Can I say something real quick?
Azuli, it was cool being up here with you. I don't think he was in the chat or anything, but I tell you, I did apologize to you for some of the things I said to you that day.
No, we're cool, bro. We're cool. I know stuff that.
No, when it got a little heated, but I'm a man enough that you wouldn't hear when I said it, so I say it right now. That's why I'm saying I know we cool, but peace.
No problem, man. We're cool. We're cool. One thing I wanted to say, Coco, before you leave, even though what we don't listen, that whole polygamy thing. You see how he destroyed the polygamy thing in the eyes of the world? They're gonna refer to this situation. Oh, Polight was about polygamy. Look what he did. He molested a girl. So yes, it's not just about Polight. It's about everything he stood for. So that's it.
All right. We got to be better at vetting. And also, this is the last word on this. Before we go to Should Be topic number 2. I always say it, and I'll say it one last time. This is why consciousness has to be about transformation. It has to function in a way that gets us to get rid of the toxicity that we have in our communities via culture and this, that, and the other. And it has to make you a person who's above this type of bullshit. And I'll leave it there. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 tonight.